Hey, good morning and welcome to Mornings with Mike. I'm Mike, so I appreciate you coming by and joining me this morning. I share a message of faith and hope and hopefully to get your week started right each Monday morning here at 7:05 a.m. Mountain Time. As always, a quick reminder here, this stream is sponsored by StreamYard. So if you've got a message that you want to be able to get out, I'd encourage you go check out join-streamyard.com. You can get a free trial there. So with that, that's the only pitch I got. This morning, we're going to be sharing 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7. And this is one of those that, as all of you know, the whole foundation for this show is just I want to be able to start your Monday good, start your week off on a positive note, and to be able to head off into the week by sharing God's message and how it speaks to me. So this is one of those pieces that it's talking about leadership, and leadership is very near and dear to my heart. And this whole piece, as we share, just so everybody knows, each week I share from my New Living Translation, Every Man's Bible. And then also one that's really been speaking to me lately is this Leadership Promises for Every Day by John Maxwell. So I'd encourage you to pick both of those up. Pick up your Bible and pick up that leadership devotional because it's really, really good. So, hey, good morning, Neil. Nice to see you. Becca, good to see you this morning. So, getting into the message. Let me shut that one off there. So 1 Samuel 16 verse 7 says, "But the Lord said to Samuel, don't judge by his appearance or height, for I've rejected him. The Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." I love the last piece there where it's very clear. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. It's the reminder to tell us all, like, who you are precedes what you do. Leadership begins in our heart. I remember years ago listening to a sales training. The guy was named Rick Grosso, And his comment during this course of this training, when he was talking about selling and connection relationships, he said, you know, one of the things you want you have to serve and you have to be who you are. And he said, you should have people be able to look at you and say, who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying. And that's how this verse spoke to me, is it's like who you are, right? Who he is speaks so loudly, others could not hear what he was saying. Like, it's all about where the heart is at. And so one of the things to realize, God regularly disregards human customs and traditions, right? If there's something God says, hey, this needs to be accomplished, we see this happen all the time, where he picks people that we wouldn't expect him to pick because he's not judging based on what we see. For example, right? So this is talking about David. This is talking about King David, and it says he's the youngest son. So yeah, to put into context, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So when he's talking about this, the Lord's speaking to Samuel about King David. Don't judge by his appearance or height, for I've rejected him. The Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. And then he goes in, people judge by outward appearance, the Lord looks at the heart. So when he's talking about David here, like, David is the youngest son. So normally he would be the least likely to be put in a leadership role, right? When we're talking about the time period that they're in, and certainly not as king. So the key, though, is that God knew what was in his heart. God knew his heart. Who he was spoke so loudly that others didn't have to hear what he was saying. He was somebody that would be a leader in spirit. He was someone that would lead with who he was, who he was put here to be, what his purpose is. And so David, like so many of us, started as the low man on the totem pole, or the low woman on the totem pole, the low person on the totem pole, right? And he did all of the things that were asked of him. He maintained a positive attitude. He worked. He continued going, even though others, including his brothers, looked on and mocked him. He continued on. And the key here is then God said, I'm going to use you. I'm going to look and I'm going to lift you up. And so the message, the core message, as we get into this then this morning, I always try and keep these to about 10 minutes. So as we get to the message this morning, it reminds us that when we stay faithful in the small things, it often results in larger assignments. When we stay faithful in small things and we continue to persevere through, that we see that reward in the results, right? We may not feel it because it may feel small and insignificant, but we stay the course and God knows what's in our heart and he will lift us up. So if you're given that opportunity at a larger responsibility, here's for me, and this is one of those places it was really, really speaking to me. Let me go back over here to the comments. Hey, good morning, Edgar. Nice to see you this morning, man. And Neil says, Mike looks good. I'd have to be up for 5 hours to be camera worthy. I'm up for about 15 minutes to get camera worthy. It's quick going here. So as we come down to the tail end, thank you guys so much for joining me. I really do. I appreciate it. I'm glad that I can reach out and touch someone, right, on Monday mornings. So where was I? So here's the key. When you're given this role, when you're given this responsibility, one of the most important keys is that you continue to approach that with the same loving heart, with the same sort of attitude, with the same sort of fervor that got you there to begin with. Now, I'm not saying you have to do the exact same things. I'm not saying you got to do the same approach, but understand if you keep that positive mental attitude, if you keep that, there's not another word. If you approach that with the same fervor as when you got there, right? The Lord will lift you up. The Lord knows your heart. Goes back to that very beginning statement that I made at the beginning. Who you are precedes what you do. Leadership begins in your heart. So I encourage you, as you're going out and approaching today, as you're going out and approaching this week, make sure that you stay true to who the Lord has put you here to be in purpose. Make sure that that speaks so loudly that others don't need to hear what you're saying. So with that, thank you so much for joining me this morning, friends. I really, really appreciate you. Do me a favor. If you have not already, click that like button. Click the subscribe button on this channel. Please share the message with a friend that may need to be lifted up this morning. And if there is something that I can do, that I can be praying for you this week, shoot me a message. I know many of the people that watch the show I'm connected to personally. If we're not connected yet personally, drop it in the comments. I would love to share a message of hope and pray for you this week and help you moving forward into a great and positive week. And with that, thank you for joining me, everybody. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and God bless you all. I'll see you back here next Monday morning.